Welcome to King of Catan. This is the third episode and my name is Treeckosaurus. On red we have DanielBeadle, on blue we have Artix 2108. Purple is Treeckosaurus, which is me, but for the purpose of this video I'll say Treeckosaurus. And Clavjoh is on grey. So we have a lot of former kings in this game mode. Actually all players, I believe, have been king so far in the tournament. And I think 3 of them have been in all in one day, so that's actually quite funny about this one. Clavjoh picked first and he decided to go with the 8, 4 and 10. Treeckosaurus is recording this video, so if you see the mouse go up and down, it highlights what spots he is referring to. So for example, he points at a 3, 6, 4 at the moment. DanielBeadle is trying to pick his first settlement at the moment. There are a lot of really okay spots at this map, but not overwhelmingly good. And Daniel decides ore will be very relevant on this board, especially since it has a 2, a 3 and a 10. So this 10 is actually the best ore gain on the map. And he decides to go for the 10, 5, 9. And as he also gets double sheep. Interesting on this board is that the sheep is double 5 and double 9. And his ore is close to the ore board. How relevant is that? If you're trying to get ore, probably not that relevant. Because you want to trade your other resources for the ore. Unless it then gets rolled a lot of times. So the good luck wishes and the U2 wishes in the chat room. Artix is picking at the moment. I could see the 6, 5, 11 being picked somewhat. How strong is this wheat board? Because you see a lot of clusters of wheat. Artix decides he needs the 6, 9, 3. And he picks up the second best ore. So all the spots are taken around the ore spot so far, with the decent numbers in mind. So the 693 is quite okay. Treeckosaurus is looking at the spot with the 3-8 and the 6-5-11 combined. There's also this 6-4-11, which is quite close to the lumber board. And lumber might be quite rare on this board as well. Okay, Clavjoh picked his first element on the 8 lumber, but Treeckosaurus is looking at other options as well, like this 5, 8, 10, which would give him double wheat. And especially with the clustering of these wheats, you gotta make sure you get on wheat. Common saying is no wheat equals defeat. This doesn't have to be like that, but it seems like Treeckosaurus is gonna go all in on wheat. Okay, he decides to go for the 5, 8, 10, so picking sheep along the way and picking up the double wheat with the 6-2 with the wheat board. So he has the third best ore on the map selected, but it's not a really good one. So this 2 ore, how good is it? Like Artix is picking now. He's looking for lumber and wheat. So this 6-4-11 or the 6-3-4 could be picked here. He goes for the 6-4-11 as it gives him a great opportunity to take the 4 lumber board with it. I think that's the reasoning behind this. He could have gone for the 3-6-4 as well. I don't know what's the best decision to take here. Let's find out during this game. So Daniel is picking right now. And he needs wheat, for sure. He also liked lumber, but outside of the 3-4 at the top of the map, there are no great ways. Yeah, the 6-5-12 he could have picked as well. Maybe that would have been better. Okay, quick 5 roll by Daniel. A 7 last turn by Clavjoh as he decides to block Artix on his map. Interesting decision to block his 4. Maybe they are trying to raise on a certain spot, but I don't see why exactly the 4 was blocked in this case. Maybe it had to do that with the fact that Clavjoh has a pretty good lumber and he's trying to trade away, or maybe he tried to get a certain resource like lumber. Yeah, that kind of makes sense because he picked up double brick with his second settlement. Treeckosaurus rolled a 7 as well. And he is looking to block the 6 and steal with Artix, okay. As he picked up a sheep. And now the 6 is rolled and Artix and Daniel don't receive their wheat. So that's unfortunate for them. A 5 roll as well, so there's a lot of sheep in the game. And that makes sense because 5 and 9 are really strong numbers. And you can, on like for example, Daniel doubled up on sheep. So there's actually a player who does. Yeah, okay, all the players gain sheep. Yeah, they do. And Clavjoh is soon doubling up on sheep as well if he gets his first settlement on the 6-5-12. I assume he is quite happy. No one took that. Artix didn't take that spot. No, that doesn't make sense. So the wheat offered by Treeckosaurus doesn't seem like anyone is interested in it. He offers ore as well, which is quite a rare resource. Wheat for ore could be a... Okay, Treeckosaurus makes a 2-to-1 trade for a lumber. So he was trying to get... He's trying to get a little bit more wheat gain so he can use his port a bit more effectively. 8 roll by Clavjoh as he picks up another lumber, which is important for him because he's trying to build a settlement here. Treeckosaurus received a wheat. Clavjoh is able to trade his lumber away for wheat as well. And I think that's a mistake by Daniel since Clavjoh doesn't gain any wheat himself. Daniel doesn't gain any lumber, so I think that's the reasoning behind that. Daniel and Treeckosaurus might be racing here to see who goes to either the 8-3 for Treeckosaurus or the 3-4 for Daniel. And Daniel decided to rob Treeckosaurus here as well, so that kind of makes sense. Daniel's trying to pick up an ore, so maybe he is actually not raising Treeckosaurus for this spot. 8 roll and Treeckosaurus picked up a bunch of wheat in the meantime, makes a 2-for-1 trade and he is able to build a settlement on the 8-3. So if an 8 rolls he gets actually a free resource, or he can use double wheat. So that's really strong about the strategy. If you get a bunch of wheat, which was possible with the clustered wheat at the top, you're very likely to use those extra wheats. Also a settlement by Clavjoh. So Treeckosaurus rolled a 2 actually, so he is now able to build a city if he wants to. He could go for it on the 8-5-10, but he actually decides to go for development cards here. That's interesting. He goes for double development card, picks up a Year of Plenty and a Knight. The other players don't know what it is yet, but I think they are assuming at least one Knight is in hand. Daniel tries to get wheat. Treeckosaurus wants double ore for it. If the trade goes down, Treeckosaurus can use Year of Plenty to build a city. Let's see what will happen here. Because Daniel is also trying to build a city. Okay, he builds a road. He waited before building this road to see if he could offer like the lumber or the brick or both for the resource he wanted, the wheat. So that's really smart by Daniel. Artix decided to block Treeckosaurus 8. And let's see if Treeckosaurus is going to use his knight here. Yes, he is. And he decides to block Clavjoh's 8. That is really interesting. Clavjoh rolled a 12, so he picked up the lumber Treeckosaurus blocked. Or expected to block. Daniel is trying to get wheat again. Treeckosaurus has a bunch, but doesn't accept a 2-for-1 trade for double sheep. And it doesn't seem like Artix or Clavjoh have enough wheat to make this trade go down. Daniel is able to convert 4 sheep into 1 wheat and gets the city at the 1059 spot, which will increase the productivity in sheep and ore. So Artix makes a trade with Clavjoh. Is Artix now able to build either a city or a settlement? It looks like he isn't. He is offering brick in this case. No trade goes down. Okay, he's trying to get ore, so it seems like he's trying to build a city here. Builds a road towards the 3-8. Okay, that's interesting. Treeckosaurus is trying to get ore here. If he gets one, then he is able to use Year of Plenty for an ore. Treeckosaurus picks up another development card. So I wonder if this strategy by Treecko is paying off. Like, should he have built the city instead of the development cards a few turns ago? How would it have gone then? I know the 7 has been rolled, so this 8 would probably be blocked, but he would have more wheat gain and sheep gain over the 5 and the 10. So I wonder how that would have worked out. A 4 roll by Daniel. He's trying to get brick from Treeckosaurus most likely. Treecko is okay with a lumber for a brick trade. But Daniel doesn't offer lumber for 3 sheep. No, Treeckosaurus actually wants double ore. This trade isn't going to go down. Artix rolled a 4. So that gives him a lumber, and that gives Clavjoh 3 bricks. I don't know how relevant the bricks are for him at the moment, because he most likely doesn't have a lot of lumber. Maybe he still has one from that 12 roll. So let's see what he is able to do here. Clavjoh also picked up 2 development cards, so it's likely one of them is a knight. Treeckosaurus rolls an 8. He still has this knight in his hand, so he probably won't be too afraid of Clavjoh's knights. Offers sheep for brick, so he could make a 4-to-1 trade for ore. doesn't seem like it's going to go down. Knight used by Clavjoh, and he robs Treeckosaurus from a brick and actually rolls a 7 as well, so he loses 4 of his resources. And now decides to block the 4 by Artix. And Artix is close to getting this lumber strategy going, as he built on the 8 lumber. DanielBeadle is still looking for the brick, so he can, if he gets a brick, he's probably likely to build the settlement at the 10 ore spot. Treeckosaurus is highlighting at the moment. And that's actually a really good offer through Treeckosaurus. If he would get double wheat. Interesting to see that Treeckosaurus doesn't commit to the double wheat and... Okay, now going to try double wheat and double... Okay, Daniel doesn't go with that trade. Artix is trying to get lumber here, so he can go to the lumber board to complete his lumber strategy. So he can more easily convert his lumber in ore, I believe. At least that seems to be the most... if you look at his board, he does double gain on ore if a tree rolls, but that tree doesn't get rolled that often. So Treeckosaurus is able to build a city now with the 2-for-1 trade with the wheat. Could have gone for brick here either, or as well. And he builds a city on the 5, 8, 10. And immediately gets blocked by Clavjoh. And who... So, is that a mistake by Clavjoh to roll the knight here first? And because he gets punished for it by the 7 roll. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. There are some... there is discussion about it, because a 7 rolls 1 out of 6 times. And if you roll an 8, it rolls 1 out of 7 times, I believe. But you also gotta keep in mind that you, instead of you gain 2 resources, you also block 3 from the other opponent. So is that worth it? It's more likely to roll a 7 than an 8. But that's the thing you gotta keep in mind when making these decisions. So Artix is still looking for that lumber, which is pretty interesting since he gains with the 8-4 and the 11 he gains lumber. So actually I wouldn't trade that hard for lumber in this case. You're likely to get it eventually. Maybe you can buy a development card in the meantime. Maybe you shouldn't, because that isn't your win condition. Especially since Treeckosaurus and Clavjoh are going pretty hard for it. Knight used by Treeckosaurus, and he blocks the 8 from Clavjoh and Artix again. And decides to rob Clavjoh. Pretty expensive trade with Treeckosaurus. He recognizes, okay, Artix isn't able to get lumber from his opponents, so I gotta make this 4-to-1 trade. Clavjoh rolls a 5 and is able to pick up a lumber, so he can build a road towards the 3-to-1 port, which will help him a ton, I believe. Quite dependent on the 10. If that doesn't roll a lot, then you don't gain a lot of resources with this 8 roll from DanielBeadle. I think he won't be too happy with the 8 roll, because he never in one circumstance gets something from the 8. Maybe there are circumstances that you don't want the 7 to be rolled and you're happy with the 8, but that's the one of the few possibilities. So I wonder what his next plan is. He got a lot of stuff on the 10-5-9. So I think it's somewhat likely he tries to build a city next on his 11-3-6. But he will be dependent on the 10 to be rolls for that. Trades in 2 for 1 for ore and gets a development card. So his resource again makes the most sense to go for development card strategy. I think Treeckosaurus' strategy is also okay. He doesn't gain a lot of ore, but he does gain a lot of wheat and sheep. And he was able to pick up some development cards. At the moment he could have built a city as well. So that's one of the most interesting decisions in this game so far. Treeckosaurus gets another development card as he decided he locks in for it. And he actually gets another. So let's see what he will pick up with this one. Also a knight. Interesting. So he's not the only player with development card at the moment, as Daniel also picked up 2. And the 3 is rolled, so that's gotta be huge for Artix, as he built a settlement on the 4 with the lumber port, so he's most likely looking to build a city next. And I could imagine that going down to the 6-4-11 as he like doubles up on the 11 lumber, and he gets more lumber from the 4, and also this 6 wheat is quite huge for him. But I could also see him build it on the 6-9-3. Daniel in the meantime bought 3 development cards in one turn. And he still has 2 resources left, now has 4 in his hand, and he activates a knight. I can imagine there being a lot of knights in his hand. Really interesting, because he didn't get blocked at the moment. But he probably feels like he should get the development cards here. Decides to block Artix and Treeckosaurus on the 6 brick. Maybe he's trying to force out a knight by Treeckosaurus. Artix decided to block Treeckosaurus 8, so we're definitely going to see a knight by Treeckosaurus. Seems like he's considering it. Maybe he's faking not having a knight, but he does a poor job of that. And he decides to drop Artix in this case. Okay, maybe he was looking for a certain resource. Trying to trade 1 wheat for a lumber. And as Artix is happy to see the trade go down. Trades 2 for 1 for brick, as he is able to get a settlement with his resources at a 2-9-10. So he doubles up on the ore and also gains more wheat if the 10 rolls. Clavjoh decides to build first and then activate his knight. He was at 7 resources, so didn't fall for the same trap again. Trade offer by Treecko. And this is a really greedy trade offer which won't go down, I could imagine. But what is used here is that the 10 rolls for Daniel. Daniel also offers 2 sheep for a wheat. Treeckosaurus is okay with it for 2 sheep and ore, maybe. He looks at the chat first. Looks like he's going to deny it, as the other players do that as well. I don't see this trade going down. Knight used by Daniel. I think Treeckosaurus will be robbed here to get that wheat, so okay, Daniel actually gets a development card by it. I expect this to be a city. But being at 4 victory points and with a bunch of development cards, maybe he's actually... I could see him taking either the biggest army or in general having a bunch of victory points in hand. Treeckosaurus decided to not use a knight for this 6-3. So probably because Daniel has a lot of knights in his hand and his 8 isn't blocked. And Clavjoh rolled another 7 and lost a bunch of resources again, as he decides to block Treeckosaurus' 8. 5 roll by Daniel, which gives him some sheep as well for Clavjoh. The 5 also provides sheep for Treeckosaurus. So Daniel is trying to get lumber. Maybe he wants to build a road on the 9 for the 9 sheep spot. Treeckosaurus wants in the chat for a monopoly, which is somewhat likely. Daniel picked up. Then roll, and Treeckosaurus used his knight at 8 resources. So the thing that makes sense there is if you... What is Treeckosaurus trying to do here? He offers a brick for a sheep. Now tries to get ore with the same sheep. Okay, that was the plan. So he could get the city with 2-10-9. I don't think this trade makes a lot of sense, but... Okay, Clavjoh is able to build a city. Treeckosaurus is at 8 victory points right now. If he connects these roads, he will get the longest road, and it seems like no one besides Clavjoh is really close to getting it. Clavjoh might be able to take the biggest army from Treeckosaurus, but it hasn't worked so far. City by Daniel and a road building. He'll be at 4 roads now, so now at 5, so he could be at 7. Oh, this is a game. GG. So Daniel picked up 3 victory points, and he takes down Treeckosaurus, Clavjoh, and Artix in this copper game. So that was actually quite a surprise. I think this game could have gone a lot of ways, but I don't think many players saw this coming. Okay, well, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again on the next one.